Okay, hello everybody. Today you're going to learn about Introduction to Human-Wildlife Conflict by me. My name is Nae Tanpradit from Mahidol University. So firstly, what you have to know is what is human-wildlife conflict. You see that there are two words, human, wildlife, and conflict. So that conflict, the conflict is the interactions that cause negative impacts. And that negative impact may pose risk for human, wildlife, and also the environment and the habitats that they cohabitate, that they living together in that area. That's the definition by the WWF, World Wildlife Fund for Nature. You see the panda logos, very cute there. You see, human, wildlife, and their interactions. That interactions may have the positive, negative impact on human, wildlife, environment, all of them together. The cause of the reason for this conflict mainly caused by, you see, human. Because the population of human is growing in the present day. So you see the graph. The blue one is the number of the human populations. It's increasing in an exponential way. You see, in this graph is from 2015. We are on the middle of the S curve. So we have more way to go to the more human populations. Even the growth rate is decreasing. And this growing of these populations of human poses many impacts to the world, and also to the wildlife also. And where does human live? Human majorly live in an urban area. So the urban sprawl or suburbanization is the word that you should know, that the area of the human population living in urban is expanding and expanding. You see, this one is from early 20th century. The urbanization begins, and then in 60s, it's expanding, and this is from 20 years ago. In the urban area is much expanding, and along the way that the roads go. This is from New Delhi. We see that the urban area is a gray one, very large expansion of this one. From the 1990s to like 25 years ago, it's many expand largely. So that expansion may cause the interface. This is the words you should know. Wildland-urban interface, the WUI. This is the zone that's the transitions, the buffer zone between the wildland or the unoccupied land and the human development zone that's caused many impacts on ecology and poses many risks for both humans and wildlife, like wildfires or zoonosis or spillover. The definition from the U.S. Forest Service is called this zone is a zone that's human and the development meet or intermix with a wildland fill. It's around half mile. The conflict occur in that the WUI interface, but because of the requirements of the human population is growing, both food, both land use for plantation, for mining, for for habitats. Everything that it is requirements of human populations that interact with wildlife, and that conflict impacts on human welfare, human well-being, and have impacts on both economic and social also. And what question you should raise in your mind now is what happened? What happened? What is that conflict? The action, the interaction between the human and wildlife. What is this? You should know the reason. You should think of the reason and who is affected. Human, wildlife, environment, economics, and the critical question is whose is responsibility for the conflict? Wildlife cannot solve this conflict by themselves. So we human should use our technology, should use our science to cope with, to solve the problem, solve the conflict by determining stakeholders in all the stakeholders in the conflict and look into each stakeholders. What is the crucial part of the conflict? Driving force of this conflict is, as I mentioned earlier, population growth leads to land use transformation that cause habitat loss for the species. Habitat loss may cause from the degradation from land use and fragmentation. We cut the habitat in the smaller and smaller part. You see, the forest area is decreasing. Land degradation occurs all over the world, and the other driving force is when human growth, they bring the livestock with them, and then has the impact to the abundance and distribution of the wild prey, directly impact, and human causes you cannot deny that because the climate change, the climate factors that is the factors that drive the wildlife away from their original habitats. You see, from this area, wildlife and cattle livestock is living in the same area, also human, you see. And this may cause the zoonosis, spillover infection. This is infection from one species to the other species of one population to the other populations that's a pathway to that spillover. You see, you can read it later. I will give this to you. And there are so many barriers for a spillover. This cannot be occurred easily, but it can be if they pass all the barriers. The pathogen from original species can be infected to the new species or new population. Some may have to use vectors like insects. The good example may be Nipah virus in Malaysia. The indicators of the conflict is see the distribution of the species, the abundance, population trends, species diversity, species composition and richness, and we have two types: the direct type or the primary type of the conflict. It may be that conflict is to the human being killed, injured, or wildlife exploitation. The secondary is the indirect conflict that may not pose the close interaction, but maybe the health impacts, the opportunity and transactions caused by this conflict. So in the past, how we managed in this conflict. The strategy in the past, maybe the lethal hunter, we shoot them, we try to kill them, we poison them, we translocate them by, or maybe the passive and non-intrusive prevention measure, like build higher, bigger fences, and we have regulations of animal population size, might be not more than this amount, blah, 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 and preservation of endangered species. We preserve them, we don't use them. Like this one in the past, the crocodile, the big one. They kill human, human kill them. Like that. Elephants invading the pineapple plantation, and then electrocuted by the electric fence. This one is readings that you should read. It's to study in your area that you live now and you study now in Kanchanaburi. It's in between two national parks, and this overlaps with a human plantation area. You see this. There's many approaches to the solving of that conflict. Also, the beehive fence we work, and we can gather the honey from that beehive also, but maybe not work in a long way. We don't know, but no single method can be addressed to the multifactorial cause of this problem. So, but nowadays, more recent ways to cope with that conflict is to cohabituate and use the science. You have scientific research for the better management of the outcomes of that conflict. Like we do the ecotourism, we do the behavior modification and reducing interaction between human and wildlife. We just look at them, do the ecotourism, use the way that fits the behavior of their wildlife. Like I mentioned earlier, beehive fence. You see many conflicts occur around the world. Maybe in Thailand, it's a human-otter conflict. Also in Bangkok, monkey all the world, gores. That now we use gore for the ecotourism. Many tourists live in the nearby area and look for the gore. And now we use the coexistence strategy. So the take-home message that you should take home is you should know what is the human-wildlife conflict and how to deal with them, how to prevent them. By lethal method or non-lethal approach, we do the public education. We should improve the land use planning, because the planning or the prevention is more economic ways to prevent the conflict. It's better than solving it. And the problem starts with humans. Should end with humans. There's no one fits all for the way to dealing with this conflict. But you should look into each problem, into each stakeholders. What is the main critical part of the problem and dealing with it. It's tailor-made. So that's all for today. Thank you for your attention.